Yes, Lohit, you can start.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, very good afternoon, everyone. We welcome you all to our first lecture as part of the Entrepreneurship Lecture Series organized by Department of Entrepreneurship and Management, IIT Hyderabad. So, today we are going to have a talk by Mr. Abhay Mishra, who is who has a very rich experience in building companies. So, he's currently Mr. Abhay Mishra is currently a founder and CEO at Nutrisage Life Care and BetrU Innovations Private Limited. He's a postgraduate from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and he has got 12 years of experience in multifaceted areas such as food, commodities, spice, and nutraceutical industries. He handled multiple functions during his corporate stint, including sales, marketing, operations, procurement, supply chain projects, product management, quality, production, factory management, organization building, and many other sectors as part of the uh, administrative team, and started and scaled new business verticals and handled individual profit and loss statements and rose up to a deputy CEO in his last assignment. He founded his first startup, Eposem Naturals, in B2B sector, B2B herbal extracts industry sector in the year 2017. With his second startup, Nutrisage Life Care Private Limited, and D2C brands like the Joints Co. and Nutrisage, he hit the right chord with the audience. These two brands are pioneer in their respective segments in dietary supplement space and are breaking the stereotypes. So the Joint Co. Alone has touched the lives of around 10,000 patients so far and improved their daily lives. Both the brands are now slowly entering into offline and export markets as well. So recently, Abhay got featured in a book called The Startup Kunji by Raj K. Patak for his work on the Joint Score and got coverage on multiple news websites as well. He consults and mentors a few startups too. He has also been a guest speaker on various management topics and speaks regularly at IIM Lucknow, Bennett University, and so on. He recently took a session on sustainable entrepreneurship at XLRI Jamshedpur and also has taken a and also is taking a 2 credit course in pricing for second year MBA students at Symbiosis in Institute of International Business. So Abhay is known for capturing on opportunities, ideas, and execution. So I cordially welcome Mr. Abhay for having an insightful lecture to speak on his entrepreneurial journey throughout his career. Thank you so much. Invite him to the stage for his talk.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lohit.
Yeah.
I welcome you all. I'm gonna now, start sharing my screen. Wait a minute. Give me a moment. My screen visible?
Yes, it's slowly. Yeah, now it's visible.
So, hi guys. As Dr. Lohit has introduced, I'm Abhay Mishra, and I'm a 2009 pass out from IMA. And then I went on to do a lot of corporate slavery for close to 12 to 14 years. And I rose up to CXO levels before quitting and then starting up on my own. Right now, I'm running two startups. One is into nutraceutical sector, and the other one is into the BetrU innovation is into skincare segment. Okay, I call myself D2C entrepreneur because internet is the space which I understand most. And even if you give me even the matchbox or any commodity, I understand internet consumers so well that I'm so confident that I can sell even a small broom also. Okay, so I call myself a D2C entrepreneur, and I will share. So now, coming to, I'm going to speak on, the skills required, what I call killer skills of an entrepreneur. First, I'll take you through the journey of the Joint Score or Nutrisage Life Care as a whole, and then I will tell you, in my belief, what are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top skills required to be a successful entrepreneur. And I believe that my talk today is going to help, at least even if is able to help one or two entrepreneur, come a launch and establish a successful business. My purpose would be done. So this is the entirely, the entire content which I'm going to take you through. This Dr. Lohit has already introduced me, so I'm not going to spend some time on this. In everyone's journey, whenever anybody start, there would be a lot of setbacks. Okay, for me also, because I was coming out of a very, very big high in my corporate career. I was deputy CEO of a 1,000 crore turnover company based out of Bangalore. Okay, and I had world under my feet. But when, and I was doing similar kind of business which I also started when I started up on my own. So when I started, because I was so confident that I could do, because I had the previous experience, everything, so I just thought that only thing I needed was an investor. So in 2017 I decided to quit and started Apposer Naturals Private Limited along with few investors, and we ventured into the same kind of business which was up till my last assignment. Okay, and I was pretty confident, we start, and that was kind of a manufacturing business wherein we took one factory on lease in Kerala, and we started importing a lot of raw materials from across the world, and then we started converting, finishing it here, and then exporting it across to various countries including US and Japan, etc. But again, it sucked, and that was the biggest slap on my face. And that was my, what should I say, it my first startup, it went downhill just because I didn't take care of few factors. you know First of all, because I always wanted to start up and I was so eager to start up, I never listened to my gut. And whomever I pitched, because that was a more of a capital intensive business, I needed capital to the tune of $1 to $2 million. So I pitched it to few people, and whoever agreed first, I started with them. I never listened to my gut feeling, because my gut was telling me from day one that it's not going to work with these partners. But because I was losing time, I was so impatient that time, because I wanted to show it to the world that yes, I can do it on my own, etc. And I wanted to prove that point to so many people. I didn't listen to my gut, and I was too over optimistic, and then I started with wrong people. So when I started with wrong people, somewhere the circumstances also started beginning very, very, started becoming very negative. In the sense, we were hit by a flood. You would remember in 2017 or 2018, there was a big flood which happened in Kerala. Okay, although our factory, which was very, very high on the hill, and it was very, very away from the the river, etc., then also the factory got flooded too close to 10 to 20 feet of water, and we lost huge sums of money, huge stock we lost. Whatever was being processed, there was a lot of raw material, lot of finished good kept there, and we weren't able to, we got peanuts from all the insurers, etc. And then, because of that incident, and the same year, imagine, the same year, the market also tanked. Despite all this, we were able to produce something, and when we went out to sell in the market tanked. So everything became so, it was just like God, God didn't want me to get into that business. So everything went totally against me, and I had to come out, because then we started bickering and fighting for small issues. I wasted close to 1.5 years of my valuable time there before calling it quit. Okay, so my first learning And everyone here, whoever is listening to me, should, my first learning was that you should always start with people whom you trust. Money is never a matter. Money is never a matter. It could, yeah, money is matter for some capital intensive businesses, but again, you should try to chase good people rather than, just the money part. Okay. So because of few mistakes which I did, my entire dream of starting up came crashing down. But again, after we were, during the entire turmoil which was going through, I was so I was so pessimistic, because it was, all, sucking up my energy, etc. At the same time, because I knew that two months down the line, this business is going to collapse. Investors didn't have much clue, but I knew, because I was the market person. Okay. So during the same time, my father, he came from US. My brother lives in US, so he came from US, and he had a he used to have a very, very chronic knee pain. Knee pain was there from the last 10 years, and he wasn't able. He tried everything, allopathic, homeopathic, everything, but he didn't get any. He got relief also, but again the relief was not long term. Again, it was very, very short term. So he was roaming around in US, and my brother got him in some supplements, and he came. He landed in Bangalore, and he showed me that, okay, I'm taking all the supplements from the last 15-20 days, and it's helping me. Okay, that got me thinking. And when I started going through the ingredient list, I saw that out of all those, almost 70 to 80% ingredients were known to me, in the sense that I knew each and every ingredient inside out, because I come from this industry, and the whole 10 to 12 years I have been doing that. So I had very good technical knowledge of that. So which got me thinking that, yes, why not, this nutraceutical sector. Then I started researching on it. Okay. And I took 1 to 2 months before arriving at a conclusion that this segment has a very, very big demand. I didn't do any market research, to tell you frankly. I didn't do any market research, because in my previous corporate experiences, there we used to spend, crores and crores of worth of money for doing simple market researches. Okay. But I knew through my experience that market research is never enough. Ultimately, it's your gut which drives you to finally to a discussion. So here, after, I did very, very preliminary research. I went to few houses. I tried to rotate, few forms among my IM friends, etc. And I was astonished with the result, in the sense that what I came to know, that close to 80% of the people, and I surveyed in around 200-250 people, close to 80% of the people have started taking supplements on a daily basis. They were consuming at least 1 to 2 tablets, or in any form, on a daily basis, without any doctor's help, without any doctor's prescription. And that gave me confidence that, man, this sector is going to now explode, because without any doctor's prescription, if people have started consuming, so which shows that people are accepting alternative form of either therapeutic or preventive healthcare. The people have started accepting, and with the advent of internet, now everyone has started to Google. So there's a lot of which I figured during my research, that there's a lot of distrust which is there among the general consumer nowadays, whoever is visiting an allopathic doctor, because of so many malpractices happening in pharma sector. People are aware that whatever is being given or whatever is being prescribed to him is not totally sacrosanct, because there are commissions involved, etc. So there are so many things, there are so much of hanky panky happening in that sector. So people have started, and I could sense it, that this sector is going to explode now, this nutraceutical sector. So with this insight, and with a little bit of research, whatever I could gather, and with a focus on the knee pain sector, with a focus on the joints, because I could see that every house has a problem, either It could be because of, there are some, for whatsoever reason, it could be genetic, or it could be, because of some nutritional deficiency, or because of lifestyle problems. I could see that every house has at least one or two joint patient. So this was, enough indication that this sector is now going for a upswing, and I should enter rather than just wait and, look for more, more and better indicators. And so ultimately I took the call and I entered into this, and we formulated, we launched with close to 6 products in 2019 April. We launched with 4 products, but again, before that launching, because we had to make these formulations, etc., so we, incorporate we got in tie-ups with one or two, good orthopedic doctors who were running their own hospital. So through my contacts, I got that. We made lot of formulations, we did lot of hit and trial, we tried to research the entire ingredient pool available in the world for the when it comes to the joint care. And then we made certain formulations. We have, a few formulators also in our team. We made formulations, we tried to check on the patients whether and which is working, and with the doctor's feedback we tried to tweak in, and then we launched. When we launched, we started getting, very, we could see a very great traction happening online. Initially when we were launching, we thought of going online versus offline. But again, when we started getting very good traction online, we restricted ourselves offline, and we focused entire energy on online, which means our website, selling through our websites, Amazon, Flipkart, 1mg, Seniority. So we are present across all e-commerce aggregators, etc. So we are present everywhere. So this brand, the Joints company, is now, after 2 to 3 years, is now India's leading joint care supplement brand. And mind you, this is a very, very premium positioning which we have done. This is a very, very premium brand. So we figured out that the entire industry or the entire competition is playing in the segment of 500 to 700 range, rupees 500 to 700 range for a 1 month of dosage. Okay. And we figured out that best of best Indian startups, including HealthCart, including Setu, they were in the range of 1200 rupees. 1200 rupees for a 30-month dosage. We figured out that there is a very big space open for, because there were a lot of consumption which was happening through imported route also. So people were buying, all these were stuffs were being sold on airport kiosk, etc., and Amazon.com as well. So people were buying a lot of imported stuff also. So we figured that people were willing to pay, and they were paying very, very high cost to an imported brand. So we figured that there's a big, gap between imported as well as Indian brand, and we tried to position our brand in the range of, 1500 bucks, 1500 to 2500 rupee range. And we were able to hit a very, very sweet spot. And every month now, with this brand, we are serving close to 10,000 patients. And mind you, our profit, what should I say? Profit mindset aside, I am very, very happy that, people come to us when they say that this has brought a miracle to their lives, which matters to me a lot. Because there are many, many patients across India which had given up hope of going through their daily activities, or going through daily chores, because of the severe knee pain, and they were tired of trying allopathy, and allopathy wasn't giving them any cure. Then they went and tried Ayurvedic, then as a last option, they went and tried homeopathic, but again, they weren't getting any relief. So when people, my users, when they come to me and they say that, man, your product has given me enormous satisfaction, enormous relief, even in 1 month of dosage, this is, this gives me more high than, my top line and bottom line. So that apart. So riding on its success, and it is also right now also we are in the league of, at least in the joint segment, we are giving competition to Dr. Reddy's. Okay, we try to bring in new ingredients here. We are, we are very, very industry first in some of the segments, in because when you talk about joint care, there is a, you won't be aware that arthritis are of 106 types in India alone. Okay, out of that only three are more prominent in India: osteoarthritis, rheumatoid, and then there's a psoriatic arthritis. Okay, or which it's a inflammatory kind of arthritis, also called gout, or also called as gatia here. Okay, so we try to go further because this is a very, very niche segment. So we try to divide the segment ailment wise. So we have products for osteoarthritis, we have products for inflammatory arthritis, we have products for rheumatoid arthritis. Not all joint pain are same. So we try to devise products, we try to formulate products for each and every type of arthritis. Okay, and as per our expectation, because we knew that osteoarthritis is the biggest, biggest segment when it comes to the joint care. Our products for osteoarthritis are the biggest sellers. Okay, so this brand gave us a lot of, obviously apart from money, this brand gave us a lot of recognition. So riding on its success, then we, 1 year down the line, we launched one brand for different lifestyle ailment, which was again the name of our company. It is called Nutrisage. So we have product for, again, the men health, it's for testosterone booster. Then we have product for women health, for their UTI problems, for their hormonal or the PCOS and all, which are now, very, very high among the ladies, PCOS problems. So we have products for, and then there's a product for liver health also. Okay, which goes for fatty liver, etc. So we have this brand we have created only for different lifestyle ailments, and very soon we will be launching product for your regularly blood pressures or diabetes or heart problems, etc. While doing all this, we also figured that there is a lot of potential, and when I say lot, I mean huge market for omega-3 fatty acids. Okay, and when we did our market research, we figured that whatever other people, whatever the other competition is selling at very, very cheap, they weren't caring for the quality, etc. Okay, so we tried to bring in another brand called Glacier here. So you could see that I am trying to fill each and every segment within the nutraceutical. I'm trying to create a niche, and I'm trying to push a single brand for whichever segment I feel like. I mean, for for omega-3, I'm pushing a new brand. Okay, so this brand comes, and this brand will give us at least 6 to 10 products in a year, 6 to 10 products of portfolio among different, because in omega-3 also there are various subsegments. So we are trying to put every product in for different subsegment, and this is a very, very big segment. Okay, in our childhood or even now, people are only aware about 7 C's cod liver oil. So people are only aware of 7 C's cod liver. There are a lot of other options, but again, there's a problem with cod liver because of their vitamin A and so many things, so many technicalities are there. But again, this product, these kind of products, and that too in a premium range, I believe there's a lot of potential, and we are launching this brand. This is not yet launched, in another 7 days. So right now in nutraceutical, we have a portfolio of 3 brands encompassing close to 30 products here. So this is again by what I mentioned, by categories, for rheumatoid, for gout, for back pain also we have a product under the joints company, for osteoarthritis. And based on the feedback, we introduced one product for the very, very active people. And this is the Nutrisage range. I told you the hormonal health, the UTI, the 2-in-1 testosterone, testo booster, and for fatty liver, the liver health. And this is your Glacier range. And on 26th of July, this close to 1.5 months back, because we were very, very confident of how this entire market behaves, the online market, the D2C, what we call direct to consumer, we went ahead and we launched a very, very premium skincare brand with 11 products. And this is also giving us very good volumes and very good traction we are seeing over across platforms, even our website, Amazon, Flipkart. We are yet to list on Purple and Nykaa, but again we are getting very, very good visibility. This we are bringing as a very scientific brand. So our entire positioning is of a scientific brand having basis of science. So we call ourselves clinically proven, science backed, and we call ourselves honest, transparent, because we don't hide. Generally this is a tendency in all the skincare brand, that they want to hide their major ingredients, and everyone hides. Okay, but we said that we will take we would come with a very, very clean and transparent. We won't hide anything, even the percentages, whatever percentage of each ingredient we are putting into each formulation, we have disclosed. So we try to position ourselves as a the science-backed, clinically proven, honest and transparent brand. So this is our skincare segment. So we have products for, we have 4 types of serum. We have, anti-pigmentation cream. We have gel for anti-scar. If you have a scar, we have very good face washes. We have, SPF 75 sunscreen, etc. And all this is based on, and one very interesting product also we came out first time in Indian market is called it's called Slay Gray Hair Serum, which actually reverses the white hair, and it is all backed by scientific studies. So we are able to bring a German molecule here in India very, very first time, which makes a claim of turning your gray hair into black. So we are trying it out now on several of our customers. So the journey so far, from we got incorporated in 2nd of January 2019, and on 11th of April we launched our first brand called the Joints Company, which I spoke to you about. So first year we were able to book only 50 lakh revenue. FY 19-20 we closed with 50 lakh revenue, and then in the same year next year, on 15th of August, we launched the brand Nutrisage. Last year 2021, we closed close to 3.1 crore revenue, and now this year we aim to go to close to 10 crore. Okay, so our targets are close to 10 crore, and mind you, we have not taken a single rupee from any investor. So this is my biggest achievement, what we call. We have a very, very small team size. All the required activities, all very, very mandatory activities, we try to keep in-house. Rest of the activities we try to outsource. Okay, like advertising, etc. All those stuff, we have outsourced. There are agencies taking care for us. And with the bootstrapped journey, we are able to clock 3 crores last year. And I'm pretty confident that with the launch of Omega-3 and with the launch of Skinoptic, and and further launches what we have planned, and with the team size of 10, we will be able to touch 10 crore in this year, and without taking a single rupee from any investor. Why I have taken this pledge of not taking investor very early in the journey, because of my first experience which went south of Aposm, which I already mentioned. Okay, so next time, whenever it's not that I am totally averse to investor, I will bring in investor, because there are some businesses wherein you need to have certain amount of cash burns to acquire new customers, to scale it very, very fast. Okay, so therein you need to have money. I will bring it, but not very early in the journey. So it has been 3 years of journey. Maybe for one or two brands, we will be bringing one or two investors, some kind of angel, during the next 1 year. So this is our journey so far. We also do a lot of activities. We try to give it back to our society by having a lot of backward linkages program, because as I mentioned, that there are some ingredients which we are bringing and which we are doing very first time in India, and for them even the quality is also very very important. So we go backwards and we try to form, through some our channel partners, we try to form some associations, etc., and we try to provide some, some credit or some support to the farmers. And this is one of the this is one of the project what we do in Gujarat and Rajasthan, and this is a special variety of Boswellia serrata which we grow with them, and out of that we take ingredient called AKBA 3. It's called acetyl keto boswellic acid, which is very very key to few of our joints company product. And this is again, this is a very known compound nowadays. So curcumin also, it comes from turmeric obviously, and there also we are in touch with close to 350 farmers from where we procure directly, because we want to control certain specifications of the curcumin what we put in our formulations. So this is our way of giving it back to the society. Now coming to entrepreneurship. Okay, so this have been so far our journey. Yes, we are not Flipkart. Yes, we are not. So we are not in, yet we are not again in the range of we are not unicorns, etc. We are not right now. But again, what we are able to have a very very sustainable business model, and we are able to churn out 100 to 100% growth year on year basis our cash flows through which we are supporting our businesses. Okay, so that's a very very great achievement for us, what I believe. So again, coming to entrepreneur, you know what entrepreneur is, who create new businesses and who bears the maximum risk, and obviously because of bearing maximum risk, he enjoys also most of the rewards. I would need an answer on this. What you think of it? That startup, is it a marathon or a sprint? Okay, so this we will discuss in the very very last slide. This is this is very often mentioned whenever you hear of any startup speeches, etc., that everyone says that it's a marathon, not a sprint. My views are different. I will explain in the last slide. Yes, being entrepreneur is very very hip nowadays because of the coverage we get in all leading business newspapers. But again, there are a lot of negatives as well as positives being an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur, mind you, that being an employee, you can restrict yourself to 12 hours, 12 hours and 7 days a week. But again, being an entrepreneur is 24/7 job. Even there would be a time that at night when the entire world is asleep, and it has happened to me many times, and you would be working for the entire, because there would be every day some new challenges, some new challenges would be coming your way. Entrepreneurship is very very stressful. Employee obviously, as compared to entrepreneur, I would say, and these are all my views, your views could be different. But again, when I see my journey as an entrepreneur and as an employee, I would say that it is more stressful, and it is employees are comparatively lesser stressful. I have less time here, or any entrepreneur would have less time during his initial phase of building a startup. But again, employee would have more family time, and you would see, being an entrepreneur, that your friends make more money than you for initial few years, which would make you go into depression. But again, as an employee, you would be making similar kind of money as your batchmates. Again, having said negatives, now positives. As an entrepreneur, you generate wealth for you as well as your employee through ESOPs, etc. But again, for employee, yes, you do for survival, you do generate wealth, but again very very less, and there are no employees. But again, in entrepreneur, you have more creativity, you have more time flexibility, whereas an employee, very less freedom to chart your own path. You'll be always dictated by the kind of KRAs, and you'll be always defined within your KRAs. Even if you try to do something extra, not many organizations, there are not many organizations, or I know there are very good organizations as well, but not many organizations would value that. If you try to go out of your KRA and try to bring in something new for them. Okay. And we entrepreneur, we thrive in a world of uncertainty. Whereas for employee, most of the time, what I have seen, that uncertainty is scary. Give me a moment. So, they say HBS study, Harvard Business School study, which shares, notes down the difference between founder and non-founders. So you could see all the, the green areas. So founders were found to be ranked very, very high for certain areas. And for certain areas, they were found to be at par with non-founder leaders in any company. For one of this thing, they were found to be significantly lower. And this is all study done by HBS, so it's not my study. Founders keep an eye open for opportunities. They have very, very good amount of vision and influence, and they are very comfortable with uncertainty. So for these 3 points, they were ranked very, very high. Okay. But again, when it comes to the, the team play, coming, motivating your team and decision making, they were found to be at par. Building networks, because again, very, very key important aspect for being a founder, they were found because they put in more effort than your regular non-founder. So they were, seen having better, ranked higher for building networks and for collaboration, team orientation. So what I mean to say, when you are a founder, when you are a non-founder, everything boils down to your attitude and not the kind of skill what you have acquired. Founder would have better attitude to adapt to his, his surroundings, because he will have those kind of incentives to work his ass for more hours, and and to chart out his own path, rather than a non-founder. Because end of the day, non-founder may say that, okay, yeah, end of the day, what are my incentives? I would only get 5 or 10% of my work, or whatever, maybe 100% of my variable. But founder, if he slogs hard, and if he takes some correct decisions, he may be able to generate a lot of wealth. That's why you see, lot of, very, very significantly, he's ranked higher on opportunity, because he senses opportunity very well. He has a vision and influence, and he's very, very comfortable with uncertainty. So attitude. So being a startup founder or being an entrepreneur, your attitude matters a lot. You might have acquired some skills which are useful for your, the daily business, but again, your attitude should be such that you should be able to adapt. I will speak more about attitude, but the first step for being a successful entrepreneur is you have to be resilient. Resilient means, come whatever may, you should, even if you're falling again and again, you should stand up and start walking again. So that is when I see that you have to be resilient. Okay, you have to accept. So I mean, Center for Creative Leadership says that there are 8 steps to become more resilient. You have to accept change. You should be very, very comfortable accepting change, whatever happening, and you have to become a continuous learner. You have to take charge of your own career. So you have to obviously find your own sense of purpose, then pay attention and self identity. Obviously you have to cultivate around relationship. You have to keep talking to a lot of people. When I was in my corporate career, I never used to interact too much. I'm telling this very, very frankly. I used to be kind of an introvert, but being in a startup world, one thing I've learned, that you need to have massive network, or whatever network you have, you need to capitalize. So you need to cultivate your relationship, because whenever you are stuck, it's your relationship or it's your network who's going to pull you out. Okay, so cultivate relationship. It is must. And then reflect reflect where you are going, what you are doing, objectify each and everything, and then obviously skill shift. So you have to be very, very resilient. This is my, you know this is first skill required to become a successful entrepreneur. Resilience means also what I was saying, that you have to keep trying, keep trying, like I did. If I would have lost my heart, that okay, my first startup didn't work out, I could have easily gone back to any corporate life, and I would have gone back maybe with the similar kind of pay scale what I was into. But again, I didn't lose heart, and I started again. I chose not to fall. I chose not to lose heart. I chose not to, cry, and I chose to move forward. And I tried to look for an opportunity which presented itself, in the sense that my father came back with this. So I believe that this is all your God's way of, showing you things. So it's your choice whether to close your eyes and do nothing about it, or, you know grab that opportunity with open arms. So how many times, this is again a study which says that how many times should you try. And there's a very famous saying that Thomas Edison, from who invented bulb, he had failed 10,000 times before inventing the actual bulb. And when somebody asked him, this is my favorite quote, when somebody asked, ridiculed him, that you have failed 10,000 times, he said that I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work. These are all famous examples, or the slide is filled with famous example of people who have tried multiple times. James Dyson, you would have heard, this is a very big brand for vacuum cleaning, etc. He tried 5126 times, before, and he made so many times of prototypes of his vacuum cleaner before finally succeeding. Sylvester Stallone, everyone would have, I'm assuming everyone would have seen movie Rocky. He tried 1500 times, and everyone rejected him. Before the 1500 first person, he showed interest, and he made a movie, and which is now a history. 1009 times, Colonel Sanders, who is the founder of KFC, he tried, he was turned down when he was trying to sell the recipe of KFC. Okay. Richard Branson, finally now he went into space, but it is his 400th company. 400th company. He would, I imagine, he would have opened 399, out of which 300 have gone bust. But again, there are some 99 which are still working. But again, it took him 400th attempt to create something, a company like Virgin Galactic, which can take tourists to space. The point is, you should try multiple times without losing heart. You have to be very, very optimistic. This is again a very critical factor, and this picture in itself explains everything. You could see that by naked eyes you couldn't see anything. The world is as black and white as, but again, when you see through the eye of an entrepreneur, you could see all different lights. Even in bubbles he can see different lights. Even in water vapor he can see different lights. So this is all as creative and colorful you have to be when you when you think of becoming an entrepreneur. You have to keep your eyes always open and always look out for suitable opportunity will come and knock at you for sure. But again, it would depend on you which opportunity to take, because again, not all opportunities are good. So you have to decide, depending upon your skill set, depending upon your risk assessment, depending upon so many other factors, which one to take and which one to let it pass. Again, having said that, optimism is great, but overly optimistic is also not great. So you have to draw somewhere a line of being not too over optimistic. Like what I did, the same kind of mistake which I did, I was very, very over optimistic because of whatever baggage I was carrying from my corporate career. I was very much optimistic that I could make this work, because therein I was able to generate 50 crore, 100 crore worth of business just by having 4 or 5 employees. I said that I could replicate same in real life world if I start on my own, but ultimately I couldn't because of so many factors. So you have to draw somewhere a line between being an optimistic and over optimistic. You have to be a problem solver on day-to-day basis. There is no way about it. There is no other ways. Every day when I wake up and when I go to office, and I have I make a plan that okay, in the whole day I would be accomplishing these things. But again, startup world or startup, being a startup has brings so many chaos to your daily life, that and there will be n number of problems which are thrown at me every day, every single day. So you can choose to either, it's how you tackle those problems will define how you will succeed. So you could, here you can say, you can go through it, bite the bullet, or you can try to circumvent it, or you try to find some other way, or you try to find a solution to a problem, or you take your problem head on. It could be any kind of problem. Someday, either there are some supply chain problems which I would be facing. Okay, so for example, there we started with one manufacturer, and we got very comfortable working with. But again, the management changed there. In the manufacturer, he was third party manufacturer for us, who was converting every raw material into finished good of tablets and capsule, etc. So we were very comfortable doing business with. But again, then suddenly some management change happened, and the our relationship have started, because our businesses started taking hit. Our shipments were not going on time, so many. So again, there comes a time, there came a time that when I had to take the hard call. Okay, so but so I had to pull out entire business from them. But again, meanwhile, I had to, because before that I hadn't thought of creating two or three vendors in my database. So I didn't have, I only had, I was totally relying on one vendor, which was a mistake. But again, then because I could sense that the relationship is going to spoil in another, is going for spoilage in another 2 to 3 months, I immediately started appointing 2 3 vendors, and then I fired them, and I was able to resolve this supply chain problem once and for all. So you need to, so what kind of problem solver you want to be. So it should not be that, so you are expecting some kind of problems from whichever front, but again you are keeping mum about it, or you're not doing anything about it. So you need to be a problem solver. So you could take any strategy. So science says that you have develop general theories, and then you make observation, then try to formulate questions around it, you formulate hypotheses, etc., etc. And there are ways to solve a problem. For example, your A/B testing. Everyone would be, I'm assuming everyone would know about A/B testing. You create different creatives, or you create different different version of one thing, and then you try it out on same kind of audience, and then you try to see which one works better, and then basis that you kill one product and you take one product further. Okay, so there are many ways of doing, and decision tree. There are so many models of how to solve a problem, and you should allow yourself some time to be creative. You might have noticed that most of the problem, you would stuck with some eureka moment when you are in the shower or when you are sleeping. Why? Because your occipital lobe, which takes care of your vision and your the speech, etc., is actually, when you are sleeping or when you are relaxing, gets closed. And then the problem comes into your subconscious, and then your subconscious evaluates, and sometimes you get a solution to a problem when otherwise consciously thinking you are not able to solve. So you have to give time, you have to relax a little bit, to allow yourself time to little bit creative. So Google have seen that with this, you would be aware that Google allows 20% of their employees time to innovate. Okay, they say that okay, you come, but again 20% of the time you don't have to do whatever we are saying. You do everything of whatever you want to do. Okay, because of that, there are some very very well known products which came from, because of this project, 20% time innovation project. There are AdSense which came out of this, which I'm pretty sure this, and Google Talk also came out of, because of 20% time innovation program which they ran. Okay, and surprisingly, even it's they say that when you have a very very relaxed mind. Even Microsoft and Google, Facebook were also founded in the month of January after the Christmas holidays, because they had lot of time. The founders, the Bill Gates, etc., they had lot of times, and they allowed themselves that time to be very very creative, and then they founded this. Okay, because that's when. So you need to be very very creative and give yourself time to be very creative. And you have to be extrovert or introvert. Either you are an extrovert or introvert. The literature says that being a extrovert is what most of the entrepreneurs are mostly extrovert, which I totally disagree with. I believe even introverts also make very very good founders, but again they are, when it comes to the decision making, they are little bit, they simply don't jump to any approach. They do their own calculations. They go a little bit slow when it comes to taking a decision, and they try to do it very very carefully. But in the end, they also, like any extrovert, they also take risk. But again, yes, extrovert has an advantage when it comes to your industry interaction, or making your the peer group, etc. But again, point is, you have to be an extrovert and you have to go all out and take risk. So this is how an ideal entrepreneur is defined. I believe nobody is ideal. Okay, it requires lot of willpower and energy to be a successful entrepreneur, and you need to stand up to your failure and keep on standing up whenever things go south, which I call resilience. And you have to be willing to accept new ideas, even if they challenge your old whatever belief you have. To top it all, you need to be very very optimistic and believe in yourself. So whatever goes south, whatever said and done, whoever criticizes you, you need to be very very optimistic and have your vision. Just like Arjun's eye, you have to have very very clear cut. You don't have to get distracted. You have to be very very clear of your goal. Okay. And what I believe is the most important thing when it comes to being a successful entrepreneur is grit. Your grit means your grinding. Okay, in Hindi we call ghisna. You need to, every day without failing, you need to solve only one problem. But when that and that problem, you need to grind it so that nobody is able to solve that problem better than yours. So I always say that entrepreneurship is like bringing a house, bringing a wall. You need to put one brick at a time, but again very very carefully. After doing all the plastering work, after doing all your whatever science you want to put it behind, after, so one brick a day. And if you have not done that brick properly, even if you have brought it your company to, or even if you have brought it the wall to the height of whatever 6 feet or 10 feet, it could collapse. So every day one brick at a time, and that is called grit, your ghisna. So you need to grind, daily grind, whatever come. And what, one day you would be on a very very high because of so many things, because of the sales number or whatever. Next day, the markets or whatever, it will pull you down for sure. So you have to again stand up and go through the grid. So if you have decided for that day to be productive for some other reason, you have to go through the grind. Okay, so grit is what I believe is the most differentiating factor, which everyone any budding entrepreneur should have. Okay, ideas, execution, opportunity, those are all fine, but grit or grind, you have to go through the daily grind, and you have to put one brick at a time properly. So my advice to all the entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, that first is, don't be afraid of any failure or have self doubt. So it's all a game of your mind. Your mind plays a lot of trick with you. So you have to remove that self doubt factor from your mind first of all, and don't be afraid of any failure. Fail, no problem. Failure, if you are not if you have learned something from your failure, it's not failure in my belief. You have learned something from it and you have, again gone forward, then it's not a failure. And try to create a profitable and viable product first. So whatever ideas you have, in ideas, every day I have thousands and thousands of ideas, and I'm pretty sure that we Indians, or even even any global citizen, is all full of ideas. But again, whoever creates a product first, and whoever has the grit to create a product first, he wins. So you have to create a viable product first, and try to not chase valuations. I understand some businesses requires a lot of money to be pumping first before they achieve profitability, so that is fine. But in the end, don't chase valuations. You would have seen lot of people, lot of startups have failed for the past 2 3 years, and I really don't know why it is not shown in the newspapers, etc. Every day you would see one page in Economic Times, one page full of all startups getting funded, but nobody talks about the startups who previously got funded but again are down the drain. Nobody talks about that. So again, create sustainable businesses, create businesses which generate profit on its own, who has positive cash flow, and don't chase valuations. And team member, as I said, team members, your first few team members, if they are good fit to you, they could take your they could help you scale very very fast. But if they are wrong team members, or if you're trying to hire a co-founder who's not a good fit, and you come to your senses maybe 6 months down the line, or 1 month down 1 year down the line, then you have lost 1 year of your time. So be very very sure whom you are hiring first. Okay. And obviously last, the best part, again, as I mentioned, are good partners. Because as through my experience, what I explained to you, that good partners or good stakeholders who have similar vision, or who have similar expectations also from business, are very very key. So this is it. Thank you. I hope I'm, yes, due to paucity, I really apologize. I know all these, on one slide I can speak many hours, but again, and I can share a hell lot of experiences of mine, but again, due to paucity of times, because I have to close within an hour and we are past 1 hour. Okay, I cannot, maybe some other time.
Yeah, so I'll formally thank you, Mr. Abhay, later. Before that, I would open the forum for questions from our students, because I'm sure they'll be having a lot of, questions and your inputs.
Yeah,
In
sure.
fact, even I have few points which I want your inputs on.
Sure.
Before that, I'll ask students and audiences. We have our registrar also.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, please go ahead. Yes, Neil.
Okay. Hello, Abhay sir. And first of all, I would like to thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. We got a lot of wonderful insights. I normally do not attend conferences from our college. I mean, whoever the host comes. This is actually the first one I attended, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
So
Thank
my
you.
question is regarding since you worked in the corporate world for a few years before becoming an entrepreneur. So I would like to ask you, so my question is regarding the importance of gaining experience through your corporate job. So for a student who wishes to become entrepreneur, okay, would you, I mean, and if he has to go two ways, right? One is becoming entrepreneur right after his study, after his MBA or whatever study, or he can become entrepreneur after a few years of experience in the corporate world doing a job. So which path would you recommend and why?
See, my recommendation is that you have few years of work experience before you venture out on your own. Okay, because I have seen people, and I myself have benefited immensely, because very early in my career I got exposed to all the possible functions in a business. I used to do accounting, finance, although I was working in a conglomerate, billions and billion, which had billion and billion of dollars. But again, I requested, my management for exposure to different, because I always wanted to be, I never wanted to be to work in a specialized field. Okay, I always wanted to have a 360-degree view of businesses. So I asked them, to give me exposure, and I believe that it has helped me, while starting up, and it has helped me avoiding a lot of problems in my startups. Okay, or any startup. And I have seen vis-a-vis, I have seen many people who started out and without any corporate experience, they started out, they just came out of college and they started, but again, either they were not able to build a successful company, or because of so many other factors, they couldn't survive. So in my personal belief, that you should try to gain little bit of experience, 2-3 years, 4 years, it could depend from industry to industry, but try to get exposure to different functions. Don't get stuck in one function. If you're working anywhere, if you choose to work anywhere with any company, if you can get experience in different functions, it would be more helpful if you're going to try out working for you in future, if you're going to do startup in future. So try to get exposure of different functions, not just one function. So when you are running a startup, if you don't know each function, what would happen? Anybody would come. For example, an account person would come, or a finance guy would come, and even if you are trying to outsource, they would try to squeeze you. I'm 100% sure. Even in my experience, also I have seen. We used to work when I started out. We used to work with a firm who used to charge some amount of money for the same kind of very routine work when it comes to the accounting, but they used to charge very, very heavily, because I knew, and I had little bit of exposure of accounting as well. I knew that this money or whatever they're charging is not worth, and then I figured some other ways of doing it, or going to some persons who were charging and who were doing similar or better jobs but at a lesser cost. So I was able to save a lot of cost because of the experiences what I had in my corporate career. You understood? So you would be, if you're starting out, you would be able to save a hell lot of cost for your stakeholders, or you would be able to spend your money wherever it is required. You would not spend unnecessary money at unnecessary places. So this is again going to be a very, very big cost saving for you. So I believe you should try to have little bit of experience before venturing out on your own.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So any of you guys working on any ideas, etc., I would like to hear it.
We have a person, Sarfaraz, has raised his hand. We can.
Yeah, sure.
Sarfaraz, go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for your talk. And I have a little question. I have a small question. Is there any skill set difference for product-based and the service-based entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to comment on that. See, I come from a product background, so I will not misguide you when I don't know anything. I won't be able, but I believe, see, essentially, in a nutshell, everything remains same. I don't think so that if I try to go out and do a service startup, it would, because in the end, see, it all boils down to same function. See, in any startup, business functions would remain same, sale would remain same, either you are trying to sell product or a service, right? Accounting would remain accounting only, your supply chain would remain supply chain, your HR or organization building would remain same. So ultimately it boils down, only thing, there's some inherent difference between product and service, but I believe the skill set required for both would be the same. I can go and see, I'm very confident of selling a product or any product. Okay, and if I have the confidence, I can go and sell the same, I can carry the same confidence when I go to sell any service also, any SaaS related product or anything. I don't think so. But again, you may have to ask people who are into service industry. I'm not.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I have few questions for Mr. Abhay.
Sure, sir. Mhm.
Yeah, in fact, thanks a lot for your valuable inputs. Many of these things which we teach from textbook. I teach a course called Introduction to Entrepreneurship. In fact, many of the things you said, I from textbook point of view, I also say those things. But when we hear those things directly from an entrepreneur, from your own first-hand experience, it means a lot. Okay.
Sure.
So my question here is, you mentioned about gut feeling. Okay. Which I also tell my students, it's very important to listen to your gut feeling. Do you think that this gut feeling comes through experience, or because you said working for some years in industry gives you that confidence and knowing the field? But do you think that also leads to gut feeling, or gut feeling is something which you are born with, or which is like very a trait which you come up with, or you need to work to get that gut feeling? What is your
So
take on it?
I believe you are born with it. I don't believe that it can be acquired. It's not an acquired skill set, which can be taught or, but again, it's all an acquired skill set depending upon, so many circumstances. Because, you know, for a gut feeling, and there are a lot of, you'd be surprised to, there are a lot of evolutionary history to gut feeling also. So now science has also come to a conclusion. Science has also come to a conclusion that your gut feeling is entirely actually a science. Okay, if you go through psychology textbooks, etc., I have read few articles about it. Before that, even I wasn't also aware, which says that gut is also, but again, I cannot go deep into it. I really don't know the matter. But again, gut feeling, what I believe, comes from your exposure to the world, your different circumstances, how you have been brought up in this world, etc. I really don't know, or I have not seen anybody to whom this gut feeling can be transferred, or through some course or methodology, etc. So it's entirely what you are born with, or how you have been over the years, how you have acquired that through your experiences.
So you also mentioned one point which I also agree completely, which is building a startup is like building a wall. Brick by brick, you need to do it. But some areas where there's a lot of technological changes which happen very frequently, and uncertainty is very high. Slow and steady. Do you think it makes sense for all the businesses?
Yes, slow and see, there could be some changes in the technology, etc. Yes, it would be happening. But if you have built your company on the foundation of steady, I mean, your employees are steady, or whatever, I mean, your partners aren't going anywhere. So you have taken time to bring everything through their ranks. They're all, so then even with all the technological changes, until unless you do blunders, or you are a Nokia, you try to become a Nokia, and you don't try to see the sense, or you are not able to observe the direction to which your market is taking, until you do those kind of industry blunders, then I believe technology wise also, you take the example of Microsoft over the years, but have struggled. I mean, they were able to bring under the leadership of Bill Gates, but again, then there was Steve Ballmer and so many other. But again, now after the Satya Nadella took it over, then he was able to create a very good brand with it, and he also went into different businesses, the cloud model, etc. And then over the years, with the kind of leadership you have, if the company is built on a very good foundation, you can adopt to the technological changes whatever happening in the industry. But if you are not, and if your management is foolish enough, I would say, in the case of Nokia, you would collapse, sir.
A third point which you mentioned again, which I also tell my students, building a team.
Yes,
So
that is very key.
yeah, it's a key. But again uncertainty leading to monetary benefits being considered important. People jump from, nowadays long term employment is 5 years. If you stay in a company for 5 years, you're seen as long term employee. So how do
That
you
is
think?
true.
Yeah.
That
So
is
how
true.
to retain people? I mean, good people, especially when there's a lot of pull from outside. How do you think you should retain people?
How we do in our startup. So first of all, we try to reject as many as possible. Okay, that would seem absurd, but again, among all the stakeholders, we until unless see, hiring is like a marriage. What I have seen, I have done thousands and thousands of hiring in my career. I used to see sometimes the HR and OD functions also. So what over the years I have seen that it's like a marriage. It's like first love. Okay, if you see the right candidate, within 5 minutes you would know that this is the right candidate. Okay, so this is my experience. But again, the right candidate also, if you groom them well, and if they are really good, they would always, and it should be, they would always want to go out of you, which means that you have made them grow so well that they would try to leave. Okay, which how you can try to make them work for you in terms of ESOPs. How we do, we try to give them ESOPs, and we try to give them a larger picture, and we try to tell them that okay, if you try to stay, and we try to through the monetary benefits, we try to keep certain percentages which they get after 1 or 2 years only. So if you are working today, okay, in our this thing, they say component which you get after 1 or 2 years, and that's a substantial amount of your variable. You understand?
Yes.
So then people try to take that, because that is 2x of your fixed pay. Then people try to stick with you. Through all these tactics, we try to retain people. But again, money, you have to see everyone is driven by different factors. Not everyone is driven by money.
True.
So some people would like to stay closer to their the families or their cities, wherever they grew up. For some it could be monetary benefit, for some it could be growth, or what kind of the exposure they're getting. So you have to see how, and it's no one formula fit for everyone. You have to see everyone respond to this, and you have to create different what we do, we try to create different style of retaining for different people. That's how it's working. We are not a very big team, but again, over the experience, because I've done a lot of hiring, I know this formula works for us.
Okay, so Dr. Lohit, do you want to say something?
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Abhay Mishra, for wonderful sharing of your experience.
Sure, sir.
I just had a couple of questions before
Sure.
I can hand over back to Professor Ganesh. Actually, first question is, you did mention about diversifying or multiplying your brands that you, the companies
Yes.
that you had.
Yes.
So my question is, what propelled you to go for different
Yes.
brands? Why didn't you put everything into one particular brand?
Sure.
I understand that you said for each segment you wanted to put up a brand, but still, why is that we wanted to put up separate companies for separate segments?
Yes, I'll explain, sir. See, we are a late entrant into this. Okay, I believe we are a very, very late entrant into nutraceutical also. Okay, and there are already established brand doing multiple segments. So what you are essentially saying is that why don't you have one brand doing 40 different segments? Okay. So
Okay.
when it comes to starting up, and when it comes to making our own mark, what I believe, that there are still a segment who comes online, and who recognizes well the brand building effort, who recognizes or who connects with a brand. Okay, and who is ready to pay a premium for your products. Okay, so for let's take an example. See, everyone who comes on Amazon doesn't mean that they are looking for cheap bargain or cheap deals only, right? On Amazon also there is a segment I would say which comprises of 5 to 10% of the affluence, when you rank affluent people. okay, or the classification, the consumer classification. So who takes the top two segment where 10 to 20% of the the top paying capacity, and then 20 to 30. So on Amazon also, I believe that there are a lot there are people from affluent classes also who are buying just products because there is a lack of option. So if we are able to bring in better brands, better quality products in that segment, okay, they would convert there. And that is the only reason why I try to create a brand for every segment. Because if, for example, if I would have gone into the joint segment with the name Nutrisage, for example, with the Nutrisage, I wouldn't have been able to create a good niche for ourselves, just because the brand name Nutrisage doesn't sync well, doesn't is not coherent with the joint problem. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's my entire thought of creating a brand particular to a niche under that segment. So for example, if you are going in, let's take an example of omega-3 fatty acid. Okay, so there are hell number of people who are already selling omega-3 fatty acid, and they are selling for $500. If you go and try to look on Amazon, there would be many brands you would find. But again, those brands would also be there in hair serum or hair problems. Those brands would again be there in protein. So many. So when as a new brand I come, I need to say a different story. I need to communicate a very different, very different value proposition to them. Which is my, first of all, brand name. Okay, which we are calling Glacier as of now, because being glacier means where everything is very pure. Your water is very pure. Okay, and from there you get fishes which are untouched, and it very it's highest in when it comes to the purity. So by the name Glacier itself, we would be able to, I'm pretty sure we would be able to tap people who are willing to spend close to 1,000 rupees for a 1 month bottle. You understand? So that is the only reason when I say that our strategy is to create a segment, create a brand for each of the segment in the nutraceutical sector. So when we have plans to enter into, and it has its pros and cons. I'm not saying that this is the only best strategy you should have. Okay, you can, depending upon the company's strategy and depending upon the goals what they have, you can choose to have 40 products under single umbrella brand. But we are not doing that, because we believe it's easier to make a mark on a customer and easier to create a brand recall if you go with a separate name relevant to that segment. You understand? My Nutrisage brand won't be suitable for a protein powder segment, for example. Mr. X or Powerful X would be more suitable. You understand? Because people would get better brand recall with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification. And quickly, my second question is, you also mentioned about that your company is also involved in backward linkage program.
Yes.
In for a new startup company, wouldn't it be difficult to straight away step into backward linkage program?
Yes, it would be difficult. It took us also close to 2 years before we went into backward linkages, because we understood for our kind of products a certain quality was required. So then only, because of from the business side compulsion, we had to do this. So we went to do this. But again, to start with, unless you have an entire business plan based on the backward linkages, you shouldn't try to do, because that's a very comprehensive and exhaustive thing to do. Okay. You could see that not many companies are able to make a markup in the agriculture sector. You would have seen, there's not a single startup or a company, because the problems are very localized, and scaling up is very difficult. You understand? Okay. So when you try to tackle this backward linkage problem, backward linkage is a very big problem, and it has its solution, but again, it's not our problem to solve. Okay, but again, we figured that, okay, we can contribute to some smaller ways, and because there were some key ingredients, and if the farmer he doesn't do it right, we don't get the exact amount of ingredient what we want from the finished product. So we had to go and correct that there. You understand?
Okay.
So that was the only motivation. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's it from my side. And yeah.
So any other questions? Because you have to close at 4. If you have any quick questions, we can. Nakul, do you have anything to ask?
Just a quick exploratory kind of a question, Mr. Abhay. So if you look at the technical competence and capabilities required to build products in, say, nutraceuticals, and the managerial competencies to come out with the proposition, sell it, how optimal is a mix of looking at the technical side and the managerial side? And this question will be more confronted with the fact that since we are an IIT, people will have a lot of technical knowledge, things, they might have a patent. But how is it important that you round it off or you complete the chain to actually become an entrepreneur, that you gain the managerial skills, the entrepreneurial skills? So what are your thoughts on this?
Okay. Very rightly said, and this has been a very, very big problem people having a academic mindset. Okay. Lately, I have been involved with lot of academicians who are sitting on lot of patents and lot of IP, but they have not been able to make a single rupee out of it. They weren't able to commercialize only because they had very, very limited skill set and they weren't commercial people. Okay, for all those people, I would say that don't try to solve all your problems by yourself. Okay, when you should, if whatever, see, I also, it's not like that I am running all the entire company. Okay, I also have help from other people. Okay, and not everything is falls under my domain. I have outsourced it. I know I can do better, but again there are some functions which I cannot do better than those specialized people. Okay, so you should try to outsource it, try to have, although you should have the common values, etc. But again, being an academician, I'm pretty sure that you would struggle selling it out or making a commercial case out of it. Though try to bring on people who have those skill sets. Okay, and don't try to keep 100% for yourself. Try to splurge. Okay, so don't think that no, if I take or if I give this product to somebody for selling, he would make more than money, something like that. Don't have that misconception. Try to whatever percentage, because I'm literally seeing that lot of academicians sitting with lot of IP, they have been struggling. They are getting government grants, etc. But now, even after 10, 14, 15 years, so many years, also government is also threatening them. Have started threatening them to see, you have made so many products, you have made so many IPs, but you have not commercialized it. Okay, try to get in touch with some incubator. Try to get in touch with some commercial people. Try to outsource that function. Every problem you cannot solve on your own. Try to get better people who can do it for you. And try to splurge your percentage. This way, you would see 1% or 10% of a very, very bigger pie would be more valuable than 100% of nothing.
Over to you, Professor Ganesh. Thank you very much, Mr. Abhay.
So maybe one more last question, because we may not get Mr. Abhay again in a forum like this. I would request him to come to IIT Hyderabad once things settle down. But
sure, sir.
For the time being, if any other questions, we can ask. Okay, so probably if you are okay, we can share. If they have any questions, we can pass it on to you at some point.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
So please, I would like to. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm available at all social media channels, including LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Okay, or through my company websites also. So anybody has any question or needs any guidance or mentoring at any point of time, they can get in touch. They can get in touch through all these channels, and I would be very, very happy to guide them. Any of your students. Yeah.
So I would like to officially thank you for your time on behalf of IIT Hyderabad and Department of Entrepreneurship and Management. Especially your time being a very valuable asset for you. You spared a valuable 1.5 hours with us. So no amount of material can compensate
My
for
honor,
that.
sir. My honor. And I really like to, I know theory and practical are two different, very, very different aspects. So that's why I want to, come online or to teach whatever I've learned so far in my corporate career or in my, to maximum of students, whatever I can cover.
So thanks a lot for your time, sir. And we're looking forward to have further collaborations, probably in form of mentoring, or
Sure.
maybe when you visit here, you can visit our Center for Healthcare Innovation and Entrepreneurship also.
Sure.
So you'll get to find a lot of networks here. So thanks a lot, and maybe at some point we'll meet again. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Nakul. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Lloyd. Thank you,
Yeah,
Lloyd.
thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.